Okay, now I'm going to start page 16, except because I did not install the body post, I'm going to include that now, and it looks like they want the holes for the body adjustment to be facing in the left to right direction. So I'm going to attempt to do that. With the remaining, I actually have two of these countersunk screws right here. The two tallest ones I have left. They could be for the smallest ones, but I doubt it. Logically thinking, I'm going to go with these two that are remaining right here that are of the larger size to fit those body posts here and here. Now that I have my body posts on with the holes facing approximately left to right, probably not perfect, but close enough for assembly process. Now I'm going to find the appropriate lock nut, drop down the rear motor area suspension assembly onto that little pin right there. So somehow you're supposed to fit this little nut, one of your leftover lock nuts, I'm guessing, from the previous session. You're supposed to be able to fit that onto that screw and twist it. But there's just not quite enough room to twist it around and around and around. Let's see, I'll pick you back up again. Drop you in place. Yeah, there's just not enough room to twist it around, nor is there enough room to slide a screwdriver up underneath there, unless that big hole in the bottom allows me to do that. So let's put my finger up here. Either way, it doesn't matter. And it does look like they give you room to drive a screw up through there. So you're going to hold the nut flat up against the bar right there, that big tall bar, and then you're just going to tighten that screw, and then it'll drop that nut down accordingly. I'll test it and see how it works. That is a no-go. So this bar has got to come out first, because there is actually a flat spot on it. Maybe hard, you can see it on the top side. There is one also on the bottom side. Focus. But anyway, you have to take my word for it. Focus. Yeah. Alright. So there's no actual place on the bottom of that screw to like put an Allen head or something like that and actually twist the screw. You actually had to use, or I did, used a pair of jewelry pliers to hold it here. Sorry, this is kind of hard to do one-handed. So I held onto it with jewelry pliers, and then I tightened it with my little four-way right here. So I just fucking, where did it go? There it is. Spatial orientation and the delay does not help out at all. So I just tightened it while holding it with the pliers to stop it from rotating. Right now, make sure the flat end of the screw, see if we can magnify that a little bit better. Make sure you got a flat end of the screw. Where am I? Right in here. Because this guy right here, well, too much. Where am I? It's got a little flat spot on it. Back up a little bit maybe. There you go, a little flat spot. So that should, I think in my mind, rest right up against that lock nut. So we'll reinstall this piece now. Okay, so even reinserting this screw right there that was originally in there, it's possible that it was mislabeled. It is very well possible. I have no idea, but now what needs to happen is I need to take this motor assembly back off, reinsert that screw, but without that post, reinsert the motor assembly back on here so that screw is loose. That way then I can reinstall this post. So the screw has got to stay in that hole right there that you see. It's got to stay in there. But don't install the post. Right? Do not install that. And you see right here, according to the manual, it's just as easy. You just slide this down, up over that, and you put a nut over it. Make sure it's tight. That's all you gotta do. Yeah. This kind of shit really drives me crazy because I get told quite often, it's just nuts and bolts. That's all it is. Yeah, it's just nuts and bolts, and it may work under the right conditions during an assembly process. It might work, but in real life, it doesn't actually work. Just nuts and bolts. That's all it is. 6 minutes for you guys, and probably 20 minutes for me. Just fucking around with this shit here to get this in there just right. And what a fiasco that is. All because of basically a translation between the guy with the hands on and the guy who does this stuff. This could have been done a lot better right here. A lot better. I mean, they could have spaced this out a couple more millimeters maybe. At least. And then you wouldn't have to go through any more of that bullshit. So I think I'm going to call it an end to that one. We got our rear suspension on there with our pivot point. And we got our body posts on there. Then we'll move on to page 16, even though this is technically still 15, 1-5.